flame tutorial. Ultimate flame tutorial. This is an update from my previous flame tutorial. I'm going to share some additional tips and tricks with you that I haven't shared previously. And frankly, most artists don't want you to have these tips. So stay tuned because I'm going to give them to you right after this. Hey guys, I want to thank you all for your comments and checking out my videos. That's awesome. I airbrush for a living. Been doing this for over 10 years. I've gone through every type of airbrush you could possibly think of, from the cheapest to the high end. And right now what I'm using, I consider to be a workhorse. Works very well for me. It's a Badger 105. I have 4 of them. The types of paints that I use, they vary depending on what I'm painting and what type of paint job I'm trying to achieve. I use my own reducer. Basically, it's a Clark Art reducer. It works very well. I almost have no tip dry. It allows me to just paint and paint and paint. I'm gonna go right into this flame tutorial. Today I'm gonna be painting this piece. I'm gonna put some true flames on it in multiple colors. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will respond to them immediately. My reducer is available on eBay. I'll leave the link in the description down below, and all of the other items that I use down in the description below. As far as compressor, PSI, the paints that I'm using, and how much reducer I'm using, so that you can try to copy exactly what you see today. So again, watch the video in its entirety, because at the end I'm doing a giveaway. I will be giving away some of my Ultimate Flame stencils, and I'll have more information for you on that at the end of the video. So thanks. Enjoy. So today for the Ultimate Flame tutorial, this is an update from the first video. I'm going to be painting this panel. I'm going to be using Auto Air, the candy yellow. And I'm also going to be using the Createx Illustrator Candy Orange. Well, it's an Illustrator Orange, but it has transparent qualities like a candy color. So I'll be able to use that to paint this panel. So a lot of problems people run into is how to control the direction of your flame. For me, I do it all the time, so I already know the direction that I want my flames to go in. But for some people, painting, especially painting in reverse, which is what we do in the RC industry, mapping out your flames sometimes can help. And what I mean by mapping out, this is a side panel on a 5th scale. And I want these flames to go in the back motion. So somewhat in this type of direction. This is where I want my flames to end up. So with that being the direction that I want my flames to go in, wider in the front, and as the movement heads towards the back, as the flames are blowing towards the back, they thin out. Now to achieve that, of course, you have to candy coat with your paints the areas that you want to paint first. So let's jump right into that. This is the Ultimate Flame stencil set here. It's a 6-piece set that's available on my eBay store. This paint has already been reduced. Again, it's the candy color from Auto Air Colors. It's 4601, and I reduced it with the Clark Art reducer 1-to-1. So 1-to-1 is 1 part paint, 1 part reducer. So half a bottle of paint, half a bottle of my reducer. 1 part to 1, 1-to-1. What I'm using is the Badger 105. In my opinion, it's a really, really great airbrush. It really stands up to the roughness that I put on it, because I really beat these brushes up. I've beaten up a lot of brushes over the years, and these have just the simple ease of use with them. They're very durable. Parts are easy to come by, and they just work flawlessly. I love the tip. I love the opening. I love everything about this brush. So you can see where my marks are, where my lines are. With the flames, what I want to do, I want to use the candy yellow first, and I want to apply a coat of yellow. You don't want to go too heavy on your first coat. Just going to lay some yellow down. I'm using a heat gun. Some guys use a hair dryer, whatever works for you. I like the quickness of a heat gun. I use it all the time. You have to be careful so you don't burn your paint or burn your body. And you continue to lay your coats down. Of course, the more coats you lay down, the darker and richer the yellow paint or the yellow candy is going to be. Now, some people will paint in layers, multiple layers of yellow, multiple layers of orange. And by multiple layers, what I mean is that first coat of yellow, they would come in with white and lay some flames down. Then they would come back with the candy yellow and lay another coat of yellow or two, and then lay some more flames down with the white. That way you get transitions of yellow. You get a bright yellow, you get a warmer yellow, you get a darker yellow. Some people may do two sets, but I tend to just do one because I fill in my flames as I go. This is my third coat of yellow. I'll add a little bit more. And you don't really have to worry about overspray when you're using candies as much. Try to stay as controlled as you can. Of course, you don't want to go crazy with it, but you have your guidelines. Stay within your guideline as much as you can. And pretty much you can go from there. So there are two ways I can go about doing this. One is I can start laying my yellow flames right now, and then come back with my orange and overcoat everything, and then lay my orange flames in on top. I can lay my orange in and then do my flames all at once. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to choose to do the orange over my yellow. Same airbrush. I haven't cleaned it. I'm going to add some orange. And again, this is the Createx illustration color. It has transparent qualities like the candy, but the reason I'm using this particular orange is because it's brighter. The illustration colors are brighter. They have more punch to them. And again, like I said, that first coat, you really want to do it lightly. You don't want to oversaturate your work because it's going to bubble up. It's not going to look great. It's going to look terrible. And it's going to show through when you go to do your flames. So my second coat of the orange. And as you can see, this orange, it's very orange, which is, you know, after playing around with other candy colors, like this is the Createx, the Auto Air Candy Orange. You can see it's not as bright, and I've reduced that too, so it's not as bright. This is my third coat. And these are water-based paints. These are not urethanes. Usually I'll have my fans going, because this is a huge box that I created, and there are two 8-inch exhaust fans that literally suck all of this paint out of here. because of this video, I don't have them running and I don't have my respirator on. Usually, even with water-based paints, I'll keep my respirator on. So here we go. We got the yellow and the orange, okay? And I pretty much ran in the same direction of these flames. Now, this is the part, so I'm done with my candies for right now. I'm gonna use Wicked White, same brush, haven't cleaned it, no tip dry yet. I'm gonna put in some white. So this is the thing. You see my guidelines. I wanna go from point A to point B, and I wanna stay in that. So I always end up starting off with and you don't want to overspray. You don't have to. It's not necessary because you can always come back. With flames, you don't have to do a lot. You do a little at first, you check your work, then you can go back and add more if you want to. It's just that simple. So what I'm doing is I'm adding licks. I'm adding if you know what a flame is basically just an air pocket. And it has 4 sides. It doesn't just have straight lines. As you paint, you should add those sides together so that you can get the pockets and the texture that you want. Sorry if I'm blocking your view, but I'll come back and give you guys a better view of what it is that I'm trying to do here. So the reason I moved from one end to the other is because I want you to see that on this end, your flame should be wider. That's why I use this huge opening. These licks are bigger. The pockets are wider and bigger towards the front of the flame. And the further you go to the back of the flame, the pockets get smaller. The licks get smaller, they get thinner, they get more narrow. So you have to keep that in mind. Sometimes I'll go from front to back just so I can start imagining where this flame is gonna go, how this lick is going to affect the entire outcome of my flame work. And I'm also only doing the directional flame. That's what these are for. These long flame stencils are to get your direction going so you can see which way and lay your flames. It doesn't matter how the line looks, how the line curves, because they're not, there's no uniformity to a flame except that it has a direction that it's going in on something like this. Okay, so in most cases, there's no wrong way to do it, but you just have to keep in mind that as you go further away from the front, you want to get closer together with your lines, and you want to start connecting them more so that you make these smaller pockets. The closer you are to the front, the bigger the pocket. The further you are from the front, the smaller the pocket. I'm going to add a little heat and dry some of this up. Okay, so at this point, I can easily look and see what I have so far. And it's plenty of licks, it's plenty of movement, and the color is good. So I'm gonna lay a couple of sharp edges into this flame. And again, you change the direction. You pick a couple of pockets and you lay some of these directionals in. This will help your flames have more movement. And you're adding more depth to your flames when you do this. And what I mean by that is what I said earlier about how some people will spray a coat of yellow and do some flames, and then spray another coat of yellow and do some more flames on top. By doing it this way, you're adding more white. The more white you add, the brighter that particular section of flame will get. Like say for instance, right here, I'm gonna lay this tip stencil down and I'm gonna apply some white. And you see how much brighter that section is compared to the flames I laid under it? That will show up in the finished product. So when it's all done, you're gonna have that area is gonna be brighter. It's gonna be crisper. It's gonna have more pop to it than what you laid under it. So dry this out. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the inside. Of course, when we're doing this type of work on plastic or an RC body, we paint in reverse. So we lay the candy colors first, then we lay the whites, then we back it. If I was just painting on a regular surface, I would have did my flames first, the white, and then laid the candies on top. So you really have to pay attention to how you do this. So this is where I am right now, transparently, without any backing. You can see this is nice and yellow, and this is definitely orange. So this is where an issue can come in. Depending on what colors you're spraying as your candy colors, if you don't spray anything over this white as a sealer to stop whatever your backer is, it can change the color of the yellow and the orange. The black will definitely darken these colors. If I spray the black onto this yellow right now and this orange, the orange will not be affected as much, but it will change. The yellow tends to muddy up. It turns more greenish than yellow. So if I want this to stay yellow, there are several things I can do. Like if I take my white and I start filling in some of my licks, I'm not gonna leave them all ghost-like because they're hollow on the insides. If I want to fill them in more, fill my flames in. So you see what it did to my yellow? It filled my yellow in. That's one way to help keep your yellow bright and keep it alive, keep it popping. So, should dry that up. And again, before I apply this black, you want to apply some type of sealer so that your black doesn't bleed heavily into your yellow and your orange. What I'm going to use is again from Auto Air. It's an auto-borne sealer. You don't have to use a lot of this. And try just to spray it only on your white. You really want to try to lay this in and seal this up. So when the black is applied, it doesn't bleed heavily into the white, into the yellow, into the orange, and change your colors, because it will definitely change your colors. I usually add a coat or two to make sure that we have a good seal. I'm just adding some white. To my orange flames. And a little freehand work never hurts. With flames, you really have to experiment as much as you can. Like I said, don't be afraid of them. And in most cases, a little is a lot. You don't have to do so many licks that you overcrowd your work. That isn't necessary. Start off with just a little bit of flames. Look at the work. If you feel like you need more, you can always add them, but you can't take away from what you're doing. You can only add. So just take your time, add a little bit. If you think you need more, add more. That's my second coat of sealer. And I know that I should add more, but I'm gonna show you guys just by 2 coats of sealer. If you take a look, once I'm done, you'll see with the black as my backer, which is what I'm getting ready to do now. And I'm gonna turn my PSI down. I've been spraying right now at 35 PSI. I'm going down to 15 PSI because I don't want this black to fill up the whole room. I'm not using my exhaust fans. And I don't need, and again, this is the same brush that I had my yellow, my orange, my white. I use a different brush for the sealer because I didn't want to mix it with paint. This brush sprays well. Even at 15 PSI, it has great coverage. And I haven't had any tip dry yet. Nothing that would interrupt my spraying or my work. I haven't had to clean my brush. It works. It works really well. I use this heat gun. And what's great about this particular heat gun, you hold it at a certain distance and you keep moving it. It will dry your work really fast. It will allow me to paint an entire body in an hour because it helps me go through my drying stages much faster than if I had to use a hair dryer or if I had to wait for my paint to actually dry on its own. So a couple more coats of black. So because there's 6 different types of stencils in the Ultimate Flame set, you can end up with some really wild designs as far as how your flames go. There's literally no end to the types of flames that you can create with the Ultimate Flame stencil set. And you know, it's a flame stencil set of my own creation, because I've watched flame videos and I've seen how flames move, and it's just, for me, I think it's one of the better ways, or one of the ways that I really like how my flames move. So I wanted the variety, so I pretty much mapped them out, drew them out, and put together the stencil set so you guys can have that same quality. Now, I usually spray my flames with a little bit more attention to detail, but this was just a rough idea so you guys can get an idea of how to paint them in the direction that you want, what a sealer would look like if you used a sealer. So you can see that the black, if you look around the edges, you can see how the black soaks in, and it changes it from yellow to a greenish tint because of the black. But because I filled in the flames with the white, it kept the yellow towards the center better. It kept the orange towards the center better. You know, and the flame still has that movement going towards the rear, you know, which is what you want. Let's take a look at this without this film on it. Might be a little easier for you to see. So that's the end product. It pops. The flames have movement heading towards the back. You get the general idea. And the more you practice, the more you use this stencil set, the more you become familiar with the results that you get from using certain edges in certain places. So once you become more familiar with the stencils, the work that you do with them will change. And that's a great thing, because the more you're familiar with something, the better you know how to use it, the better your results will be. So I think that's it for this particular tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the video, that you get a lot of information to help you with your airbrushing and your painting, as far as picking paints and, you know, reducing, how to lay your flames. So in the meantime, click on the subscribe button. Ring the little bell for notifications so you'll know when the next video is coming out. And trust me, I have a lot of videos that I'm working on right now that are going to be coming out that's going to help you improve your airbrushing skills. I'm giving away 5 sets of the Ultimate Flame stencils to those subscribers who click the notification bell and leave a comment letting me know what you liked about the video, what you didn't like, if I missed some information. But just leave me the comments and I'll respond to them immediately. And on January 5th, I'm going to be picking my winners and I'm going to be sending out those stencils to you. So thanks again. Stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching Skin Jobs. I'll be back. See you then. Bye, guys.